There comes a time in life when growth does not come from adding more people, more effort, more noise. Growth comes from subtraction, from quietly stepping back and asking yourself a very honest question. Who in my life is helping me become better? And who is quietly draining me while pretending to be close? This is not an easy question, because the people we need to let go of are really strangers. They are familiar faces. Sometimes they are friends, sometimes relatives, sometimes people we have known for years. And that is why letting go feels painful. But understand this clearly. Holding on to the wrong people costs far more than the pain of letting them go. Most people think success and peace come from motivation, positivity, and hard work alone. But even the strongest seed cannot grow in poisonous soil. If your environment is toxic, your growth will always be slow, no matter how talented or sincere you are. Life becomes lighter, clearer, and more meaningful when you learn that not everyone deserves access to you. Your time, your energy, your emotions, these are precious. And wisdom is knowing where to invest them. The first kind of person you must learn to cut out is the constant discourager. This person may not openly hate you. In fact, they often claim to care deeply about you. But every time you share a dream, an idea, or a goal, they respond with doubt. They don't say, "You can't do it." They say, "Be realistic." They don't say, "You will fail." They say, "I'm just worried about you." Their words sound logical, practical, even loving. But somehow, after talking to them, your excitement disappears. Your confidence shrinks. Your vision becomes smaller. There is a beautiful story about a young man who wanted to start a small business. He was not rich, not well connected, but he was sincere and hardworking. Every evening, he would share his ideas with a close friend, and every evening, the friend would say, "The market is bad. People don't support new businesses. This is too risky." Over time, the young man stopped talking about his dreams. Eventually, he stopped dreaming altogether. Years later, he met another friend who had started with even fewer resources and had built something meaningful. That day, he realized something painful. His failure was not because he lacked ability. It was because he kept listening to someone who never believed in growth, his own or anyone else's. Discouragers project their fears onto you. They are not protecting you, they are protecting themselves from feeling uncomfortable about your courage. Your growth reminds them of their own stagnation. And instead of facing that truth, they pull you down to their comfort zone. Remember too, his advice without hope is not wisdom. It is fear disguised as concern. You don't need people who constantly remind you of what can go wrong. Life will do that anyway. You need people who remind you of what is possible. The second kind of person you should cut out is the constant taker. This is someone who is always present when they need something. Your time, your help, your support, your money, your emotional strength. But when you need them, they are suddenly busy, unavailable, or uninterested. Relationships are meant to be exchanges of care, not one-way transactions. Yet many people stay stuck in such relationships because they are kind, because they don't want to disappoint, because they fear being seen as selfish. There is a simple story of a man who always carried water from the well for his neighbor. At first it was occasional help, then it became a daily expectation. One day, the man fell sick and asked the neighbor for help. The neighbor said, "I'm busy, maybe tomorrow." Tomorrow never came. That day the man learned a painful but powerful lesson. Helping others is beautiful, but helping those who never help back eventually empties you. Constant takers don't always really see what they are doing, but that does not make the damage smaller. Slowly, quietly, they exhaust you. You start feeling tired for no clear reason. You feel unappreciated, you feel invisible. And the worst part is, you begin to believe that this is normal, that love means sacrifice without limits. But healthy love does not drain you. Healthy love strengthens you. Setting boundaries with takers is no T. Cruelty. It is self-respect. When you start saying no, they may accuse you of changing. They may say, "You're not the same anymore." And they are right. You are not. You are finally learning to value yourself. The right people will understand your boundaries. The wrong ones will leave. Let them. Anyone who only stays when you are useful was never truly there for you. The third kind of person you must cut out is the one who thrives on drama and negativity. This person is always surrounded by problems. There is always conflict, gossip, complaints, and emotional chaos. Conversations with them rarely lead to solutions. They only deepen frustration. They don't want peace. They want attention. They don't want growth. They want sympathy. And if you spend enough time with them, you will slowly saint art thinking like them. There is an old story about a man who kept a bag of rotten onions in his house. When asked why, he said, "I'm used to the smell." Over time, he couldn't smell the rot anymore, but everyone who visited him could. Negativity works the same way. When you live around constant drama, you stop noticing how unhealthy it is. You begin to think complaining is normal, blaming is normal, and being unhappy is normal. It is not. Drama-filled people pull you into emotional storms that are not yours to fight. They feed on reactions. They want you to take sides, feel angry, feel offended, feel exhausted. Because chaos gives them a sense of importance. Peaceful people make them uncomfortable. Silence scares them. Growth threatens them. That is why they keep stirring noise. Protecting your mental peace is not selfish. It is necessary. You cannot build a calm life while constantly entertaining chaos. Sometimes the most spiritual thing O can do is walk away from unnecessary negativity. Not with anger, not with hatred, just with clarity. Now here is something very important to understand. Cutting people out does not always mean dramatic confrontations or angry goodbyes. Often it simply means reducing access, less sharing, less explaining, less availability. You don't owe everyone your inner world. Distance can be kind, silence can be respectful. Growth can be quiet. Many people fear cutting others out because they worry about being alone. But loneliness with self-respect is far better than company that slowly destroys you. And here is the beautiful truth. When you make space by removing unhealthy people, life fills that space with better ones. People who respect you, people who listen, people who encourage growth. But that can only happen if you are brave enough to let go first. There is a story of a gardener who noticed one plant was not growing no matter how much water and sunlight he gave it. When he finally removed it, he realized its roots were diseased and spreading poison to nearby plants. Once removed, the entire garden began to flourish. Sometimes the problem is not that you are not trying hard enough. The problem is who you are allowing too close to your roots. Letting go does not make you heartless. It makes you honest. You can still wish people well from a distance. You can still be kind without being available. You can still love without tolerating disrespect. Life is not about collecting relationships. It is about cultivating the right ones. As you move forward, ask yourself this quietly. To spending time with someone, do I feel heavier or lighter? Do I feel inspired or drained? Do I feel supported or judged? Your emotions are honest indicators. Listen to them. They are guiding you toward a healthier life. Remember, your life is a journey, not a waiting room. Not everyone who walks with you is meant to stay till the end. Some people come to teach you strengths. Some come to teach why. Boundaries. And some come to teach you the courage to let go. Thank them silently for the lesson and keep walking. The moment you start protecting your peace, your energy changes. Your focus sharpens. Your confidence grows. You stop explaining yourself. You stop chasing validation. And slowly, without even realizing it, you become someone who attracts respect instead of settling for tolerance. This is not about becoming cold or distant. This is about becoming conscious. Conscious of where your time goes, conscious of who shapes your thoughts, conscious of what kind of life you are building. When you remove discouragers, takers, and chaos makers, you create space for clarity, balance, and purpose. And one day, you will look back and realize that the best decision you ever made was not what you added to your life, but what you finally had the courage to remove. As you continue this journey of awareness, something very subtle but powerful begins to happen inside you. You stop reacting to every emotion. You stop carrying everyone's burden. You stop feeling responsible for fixing people who don't want to change. And this inner shift is important because many people remove toxic inflow, NCEs from their outer life, but keep them alive inside their mind. True freedom comes when both are addressed. You see, sometimes the people you need to cut out are no longer physically present, yet their voices still echo in your head. The discourager may be gone, but their doubts still whisper when you try something new. The taker may no longer call, but guilt still shows up when you say no to OT. Hers. The drama maker may not be around, but your mind still craves chaos because peace feels unfamiliar. Healing is learning to silence those voices gently, patiently, and consistently. There is a simple story about a man who removed all weeds from his field but forgot to remove the roots. After a few weeks, the weeds returned stronger than before. Life teaches us the same lesson. Cutting people out is not an event, it is a process. You remove the presence first, then you remove the influence. And the second part takes time. One of the most difficult emotions you will face during this process is guilt. You will wonder if you are being too harsh. You will replay old memories and question your decision. This is natural, especially if you are kind-hearted. But remember this, guilt does not always mean you are doing something wrong. Sometimes guilt appears simply because you are doing something new. People who have spent years overgiving feel guilty the moment they choose themselves. People who were trained to stay silent feel guilty when they speak up. People who were conditioned to tolerate disrespect feel guilty when they demand dignity. This guilt is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are breaking an old pattern. There is another quiet truth most people don't talk about. When you start cutting unhealthy people out of your life, some good people may also misunderstand you. They may not see your reasons. They may hear one side of the story. They may label you as distant or changed. Let them. You do not need to be understood by everyone to live correctly. A calm conscience is more important than a loud explanation. Think of a traveler walking toward a mountain peak. As they climb higher, fewer people walk beside them. Not because the traveler is wrong, but because the path becomes steeper. Growth is lonely at times, not because it is sad, but because it requires strength. And not everyone is ready for that climb. As you remove unhealthy relationships, you will notice space, emotional space, mental space, time space. At first, this space may feel uncomfortable. Silence may feel strange, but do not rush to fill it. Sit with it. Let it teach you. In that silence, you will hear your own voice again. You will remember what you like, what you value, what you want. Many people lose themselves not because they are weak, but because they are constantly adjusting. To others, there is a story of a flute player who stopped playing music because the room was always noisy. One day he found a quiet place and played again. The music returned unchanged, pure. Your inner self is like that flute. It has not disappeared. It has only been waiting for silence. When the right people enter your life, you will feel the difference immediately. Conversations will not feel like battles. Support will not come with conditions. Disagreements will not feel like threats. You will not have to shrink, explain, or perform. You will be allowed to be human. These relationships do not drain you, they steady you, they don't push you, they walk with you. And here's a beautiful realization you will come to one day. Cutting the wrong people out teaches you how to choose the right. Once you become more aware, you notice patterns earlier, you trust your instincts more, you no longer confuse familiarity with safety, you no longer mistake attention for care. Life becomes simpler, not easier but clearer. You spend less time recovering from emotional exhaustion and more time building something meaningful. You laugh more genuinely, you rest more deeply, you stop proving and start living. Remember, this is not about anger. Anger keeps you tied. This is about clarity. Clarity frees you. You are not rejecting people, you are choosing yourself. You are not burning bridges, you are choosing better roads. And one final thought to carry with you. The people who truly belong in your life will never require you to abandon your peace to keep them. They will not demand silence where truth is needed. They will not punish you for growing. They will celebrate it. Letting go is not the end of love. Sometimes it is the beginning of self-respect. And from self-respect comes peace. From peace comes strength. And from strength comes a life that finally feels like it belongs to you. As you move further along this path, you will notice another quiet change taking place inside you. You stop trying to convince people of your worth. You stop explaining your intentions again and again. You stop chasing closure from those who never gave you clarity. And this is important, because one of the biggest traps people fall into is waiting for others to understand them before they allow themselves to move on. Closure is not something others give you. Closure is a decision you make when you choose peace over answers. Many people stay emotionally tied to unhealthy relationships because they are waiting for an apology that never comes, an explanation that never satisfies, or a change that never happens. But wisdom teaches you this. You do not need permission to protect your peace. There is a story of a monk who was bitten by a snake while crossing a river. He survived, but he carried a door toward the snake for years. One day his teacher asked him, "Why are you still carrying poison when the snake left long ago?" That question changed his life. In the same way, many people leave our lives, but their impact stays because we keep replaying the hurt. Healing begins when you stop reopening old wounds with new thoughts. Letting go of certain people also teaches you accountability. Why? Oh, begin to see how much you tolerated, how often you ignored red flags, how many times you silenced your intuition to keep the peace. This realization is not meant to shame you. It is meant to empower you. You did the best you could with the awareness you had then. Now you know better, so you do better. Another truth that becomes clear is this: you cannot heal in the same environment that hurt you. Growth requires a change in surroundings, not just externally but emotionally. When you stop exposing yourself to constant criticism, manipulation, and negativity, your nervous system relaxes. You think more clearly. You respond instead of reacting. You start living instead of surviving. You may notice that after cutting certain people out, your standards rise. You become more selective about who you share your time with. You value consistency over charm, effort over promises, peace over excitement. This is not becoming picky, this is becoming